Hello, and welcome. Thanks for coming to my channel. I'm JT, and this is a VR on the All About Tarot 2022 tag, a VR to Simon from the Hermit's Cave. And yeah, so I have to say, yes, it has been a while since I posted a video, and there's nothing been going on. There's nothing wrong or anything like that for my, prolonged absence after a flurry of, I think, 2 videos. Um, it's just that I have been making videos, actually. I've been making loads, but because of my sort of, I guess, uh, I have this sort of, what do you call it? It's like one of those base assumptions about your character. And I can't remember the name for it. It is like maybe a false assumption, or maybe a something that assumption that could be challenged, is that I'm not as articulate in talking as I am when writing, and I think this has I'm sometimes a bit nervous about how I come across when I speak, and I think that this process has just sort of kind of flagged up that sort of false assumption, I guess, or maybe, false belief, or it's a belief that could be challenged and something that I can work on anyway. And it comes out not just on videos, but also in other aspects of my life. And it's something I do want to change. So I'm going to try very hard to post this one. I'm also want to be as off the cuff as I can, but I've still got notes now, so I'm now going to work with notes rather than just not work with notes and become incredibly digressive, which I'm sort of doing at the moment, I guess. But I do want to sort of like don't I want to speak off the cuff and not like I'm scripted, which is how I kind of get over my sort of uh belief that I'm not very good at public speaking when it comes to things like work and stuff like that. So I don't really want to do that here, though. I'd rather be a little bit more free and flowy and all of that kind of stuff. So with that out of the way, I really want to start making much more videos. I really love this community, and I really want to contribute to it and be part of it and not just an observer. We all love tarot so very much, don't we? And I feel like there's not really anybody who understands it in the way that people who are watching Tarot Tube understand it. So just saying that. So and also just because I think this is a really lovely community, and yeah. Okay, so saying that, let's get on to the to the questions, I guess. So the first question is your first deck and how you encountered it. So this isn't the actual deck, but this was my first deck. I may have talked about this before, or it may be in one of those videos that I've consigned to the dustbin, but when I was in my teens, I got this deck, and I think I must have encountered it on movies I'd watched or books I'd read. I'm not sure how exactly I sort of discovered tarot, but I really wanted to learn. So I got it, and it was definitely this one with the played backs, and I really liked it. Like, I liked the look of it. And I'm showing you this. I know you've seen this deck like a million billion times, but here we go. But I was just incredibly frustrated, not with the deck, but with myself, because the little white book that comes with this deck, I read it. I've read it, since I've got this one, and it's the same. It's like the magician is a dark man who is, if it's the querent, it's kind of opaque. And I didn't know enough about tarot to sort of let my intuition take over. I feel like if somebody had said to me, this is about storytelling, tell yourself a story when you lay down the cards. And and you know, I mean, I'm seeing a story in this 3 cards spread right now, and that would have been much better, because I love storytelling. I love all that kind of stuff. And so I guess yeah, I guess I just couldn't. I would get the cards out, and I would just they wouldn't say anything to me. And eventually, when I finished university, finished my first job, and we moved over to the UK, I think I must have given them away to somebody. I grew up in a smallish city in New Zealand, and while there were cards, I can't remember there being any sort of guidebook. A guidebook would have been fantastic, but I don't even think I thought of looking one, and I didn't think of the library or anything like that, which is a bit weird. So that was my first deck, but I think really my actual first deck was this one, which is the Muse Tarot. And I got this because I wanted to get more help with my writing. And I thought that this was seemed to be, well, the Muse seems to makes you think that it's got some creativity about it. And I guess I just thought, maybe this will help spark, my ideas, my writing will help me with, all things creative. And in fact, coincidentally, I started therapy about the same time as I started working with the Muse Tarot, and yeah, it was it soon became not a tarot for my creativity, but more of a sort of I guess I don't want to say a hug deck, but yeah, a hug deck. I edged these in coral, I think, really successfully. I think that was quite good. I mean, not perfectly, but yeah, I like the coral edges. It just became a deck that felt like it was telling me some honest truths, but in a way that was very, well, here's the, that was very kind and gentle. Yeah, and so I really love this deck, actually, and I still get it out for when I want something that's a bit more yeah, when I want something that's a bit more gentle. Yeah, and I think I like the imagery. I do have a bit of an issue with the fact that it's only sort of one type of young body that is represented. I don't have a problem with the horizontal kings, they're muses in this deck. But then there are cards like this justice card. I find that, looking at the picture, I find that quite opaque. It is a difficult card for me to sort of get the fairness and the balance. I mean, maybe I don't know. It's a card that I think I can understand it if I think about it, but intuitively I don't. I have to think about it. I don't get it on an intuitive level, I guess. I think this is so 3 of voices in this Suit of Swords. I think that's a really good 3 of Swords, actually. It's different from the usual heart pierced with 3 swords, which I actually don't mind that imagery, but there we go. Hanged Muse, 6 of Voices. Yeah, so this is a deck that I just feel like is a therapeutic deck for me, and yeah, so that was my first deck. I think the first deck that I really bonded with, the first deck that I really understood what tarot was all about. Yeah, and yeah, I mean, it is my only Chrysan deck. I like the look of the Light Seers, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. I don't know. I might do. I don't know. Anyway, that is the Muse Tarot. Next question is your last deck and how your tastes have changed from your first. This is kind of a bit of a weird one because I subscribe to Total Tarot here in the UK. So my actual last deck was this one. This was what was delivered, the Vice Versa Tarot. And it's actually not my kind of taste at all. The images on this one look computer generated almost. They have a sort of uncanny valley sense about some of these images. The other thing about the Vice Versa Tarot, and I think when I saw that it was coming up as one of the tarot decks, I was like, is this a bit gimmicky? Are we just going to basically see this? There's basically two fronts of the cards. So you've got this is the Queen of Cups, and she's sitting on a throne. She's in the water. You've got shells and pebbles around her feet. She's holding a cup, obviously. And then the other side is basically that from the back and at night time. And you've got a little bit more detail here, more detail on the shells. You've got this, I think that's a heron. Yeah, and I thought, is it just simply going to be seeing this image from the back, basically just... and it is actually a deck that has hugely surprised me. So I'm going to sort of turn these over. Some of these are just simply from the back, and you're seeing sort of the night version of the daytime. But some of them are really interesting. So I think the first one that really looks is the Hierophant. So you've got the Hierophant here with a mask. If you see the mask, I think it looks quite uncanny valley there. But if you turn it over, it's like this baby with the keys. It feels like this is kind of the dogmatic side of organized religion, and this is kind of where the spiritual, intuitive, perhaps more in touch with, I don't know, actual spirituality rather than, the dogma of, established organized religion. I think that is, yeah, quite interesting. Also, I'm not sure what the Star of the Pentacle here means. The guidebook you get. I'm going to do. I think I might do a sort of more of a walkthrough on this one. But yeah, so it is my last deck, but it's oh, look at the Strength card. I'm going to turn it over now. I mean, whoa. It is, I mean, I think that is that kind of like blew my mind, I guess, when I saw it. What's another one? Yes, the wheel is another really interesting one. So here you've got the Sphinx. I should know who the two figures are on the other side, but who is on the back? The Magician. I mean, this is kind of cool. Let's see if I can show you one more that I think is really interesting. Anyway, I think my point is, I mean, I think this one, I think the Six of Wands is really interesting because here you've got the victor, victorious, the troops all cheering him. It's all it's all incredible. But when you turn it around, you kind of see the devastation that's been wreaked by the battle, and these troops, I guess, these soldiers who have they're battle scarred, they're battle weary, they have been through something, and they're cheering on this guy. I don't know, it makes you think about how victory is a joint endeavor, or and maybe, I don't know, and also what you've left behind, what sort of damage you've wreaked. Anyway, this is all just to say, I sort of, yeah, I think my tarot taste is evolving. I wouldn't say that the Muse Tarot here is my at all my sort of like favorite style, but I don't think it ever was. Um, I love the colors, and I know a lot of people don't, but I really love the colors and the played backs of this Rider Tarot deck. Um, I think. I don't like I don't like the art style of this one very much at all, but I just love the I just think it's a really surprising deck, though I'm not sure how I'm going to work with it because of anyway, I will do a sort of a walkthrough of this deck at some point. And I was thinking about my sort of aesthetics, I guess, are more like Pagan Underworlds, or I mean, Terra Volatile is my favorite deck at the moment, and it's, I guess, what I like to say is kind of like art history that's been manipulated in some way is what sort of tends to rock my boat at the moment. But saying that, if that's the only kind of I was doing something with those cards. If that's the only kind of aesthetic, only kind of type of artwork that I get, I'm losing out on quite a lot. It's why the Total Tarot subscription is so interesting, because you're getting decks that you might not otherwise choose. Yeah. So I really like this kind of manipulative collage, manipulated collage art style here. Yeah, I think it's brilliant. I really love this deck. Uh, and I think, yeah, I think my tastes are evolving. The other thing that well, I couldn't, but I really loved watching, was the Good Moods tag that was quite popular a few weeks ago. I loved that tag. I loved it. It made me think. I looked at all my decks and was like, I can't, none of these are sort of, I use for good mood work, or makes me, feels like it might put me in a good mood. I mean, I guess there's the Morgan Greer Tarot that could sort of do that for me, but that's not why I got it. And I was sort of thinking, well, maybe I need to sort of re-examine my practice a little bit, because um, why don't I have something like that to use? I don't know, something good moody. So I've been thinking, I don't know, I hope that's all coherent. I've been thinking about this a bit. I think I'm still working towards what my aesthetic is, but I think if I really feel like the message of a deck is important, I'm not so worried about what it looks like, although what it looks like is very important to me. There are a couple of creators whose work I don't think I mean, I understand that they're very popular, but they're just not for me, and that's fine. Aesthetically, I just don't like their style, and I think I would find it hard to get over. And there's nobody's really sort of mentioned anything that makes me think this is a deck from this creator that I really need to have. So anyway, I guess that's enough for now on that. Um, so number 3, why tarot? Why tarot? Well, it's a very good way, I think, of making the internal external. And I think that's what I definitely found with the Muse. I found like I could access part of myself through the images, through the sort of meanings, through that sort of meditation that you go through when you're doing a spread, or that sort of focus, I guess. Maybe meditation wasn't the right word, that concentrated focus. It really helps to bring things out of yourself that you haven't really thought about, or see things from a new perspective. I think this is really what's been so fantastic for me, is the seeing things from a new perspective angle. This is the Morgan Greer Tarot, just so I've got something to show while you're watching this. I mean, I love this deck. I just love it. It's just beautiful. Yeah. Anyway, so I guess that's one of the things. I think the other thing is that I was just talking about aesthetics. I am a very visual person, and the way that different decks can give you a different sense of a card's meaning, I think, is really interesting and not something I would have thought about, like this time last year when I was just sort of getting into the tarot, I guess. Great death card. Yeah, so it is partly the aesthetics. It's it's the tangible quality of it too. It is actually feeling something in your hands, feeling the weight of the deck, the smell of the deck, what it looks like, how it shuffles, the sound of how it shuffles. It's a very tactile, very sort of sensual, in the sort of using almost all your senses except for taste, I guess. A way of sort of looking at the world. And I think it's because also we're so apt based. I spend all of my working life, most of my working life, on a computer. We watch movies, everything is sort of like streamed or through an app or whatever, and this isn't, and I really like that. Yeah, and I think what was going back to why I thought I'd use tarot in the first place as a sort of like a creative tool. I see that it's now much more than that. It can be a creative tool, of course it can be, but it's also a self. Uh, I'm trying not to use the word self help or self care, but you know what I mean. It's a deck where you can focus on yourself. It's a system where you can engage the spiritual side of yourself without perhaps um, you know going through organized religion. I just think it's a wonderful tool. I love it so much, and yeah, and I feel like I am accessing my spirituality, and wanting to explore that in a way that I wouldn't have done if it hadn't been for tarot, and that has been immensely rewarding and enriching. And honestly think that tarot has helped me navigate my relationships with people, my family, my colleagues, friends. I just think it's just an incredible tool. Anyway, I hope that makes sense. So tarot pet peeves, man. My tarot pet peeve is enormous boxes. Um, so this was the deck I got before the Vice Versa Tarot. I was really looking forward to it, and I feel like this is the first deck that I've had where the cardstock, where the packaging has actually kind of put a damper on how I want to use it. First of all, I mean, it's enormous, and it's an enormous box. It's an enormous box. It's beautiful. It's magnetic closure. Got the guidebook here, which is actually very good. It's a very good guidebook. Really nice. Black and white pictures, but that's absolutely fine. So I guess it's 2-color. Anyway, I mean, it is really, really nice, and it's lovely. I think, you know. And then you've got this other box, and then I mean, it's just feels like too much packaging. I'm not really that. I mean, the big boxes thing is getting to the point where it is very annoying. I like you know, just as a sort of a comparison, you know, here we've got the Lilith Tarot, which is, you know, I think this is really well packaged. You've got this little sleeve. So this is by Marie Constantin, and she did the Reclaim Oracle, I think. I think it's the Reclaim. You've got this tuck box, which is very nice. Very nice. A little hello. And then you've got the cards, of course, and this little white book, which is brilliant and tells you everything you need to know. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And I think, oh man, it's just really well packaged. I just really like it. And on the other hand, I think this Wild Unknown Alchemy guidebook is guidebook and deck is just too big. I don't know what the solution is when you've got a big book like, say, Phantasmagoria, which is the book that accompanies the Tarot of Vampires deck. I think that it's really important, say, if you've got, you know, like the Forest of Enchantment Tarot, which is Linnea Witherstone, I think that I've got her name right, and the artist. I mean, I think they're two equal creators, and they deserve sort of equal recognition and equal sort of, you know, equal compensation, you know, for what they've done. I feel like artists and writers are fairly poorly unrecognized when it comes to getting the compensation for the work they've done. So I don't know, maybe I could see, like, maybe if you bought a deck, then maybe the publisher could do the book separately, but maybe they don't want to do that because people might only buy the deck and not the book. In which case, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just trying. I mean, so even like the Sacred Rebels Oracle, which I have here too. Oh my goodness! All of my Morgan Greer. It's just fallen to the floor. I will pick that up later. Okay, I will promise try not to roll my I had this card out for a reason. So it's got, this book is, you know, very good. The cards are perfectly fine in this little space without any sort of I don't know, other box to it. This book is very, you know, this book is 196 pages, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. The box thing just really gets to me. Well, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what the solution is. I just know that it's very annoying. Okay, so I think I might have to speed up now. Favorite tarot spread. Right, I like to try all kinds of tarot spreads whenever I can. I don't just do 3 card spreads. I probably 3 card spreads are probably the ones that I do the most, is what I'm meant to say. But I wanted to give some sort of, you know, some sort of special mentions, I guess. First of all, there is I think Sylvain and then Meg from Rose Honey Ritual have done the is it that 9 card spread, something like that. That's the tag. You probably have seen it, but I'll link it below. And that I did that for a general reading for myself, and it was fun and great, and I'm going to definitely use that one again. But I also wanted to mention Rumour Haven's Slayer spread, which I think I'll link it below, and it is a deck a spread that has been inspired by Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I love Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and I did that spread with the Terror of Vampires, and it was a really good time. I enjoyed that so much, and I'd like to do it again, maybe when the Buffy Tarot comes out later this year. I'm going to get it, even though, you know, we've been, you know, told to expect you know, lazy pips, I guess. Who knows what it'll look like, but yeah, that is a great spread. So I will link that down below. And I also like on Instagram, Lion Arts does a monthly challenge, and I usually sort of like group his. You could do like a card pull a day or however you want. But I usually do a 3 card spread with, you know, 3 of his questions grouped together. I really like that. This one is called. Oh, what's it called this month? So this month is August. I'm just having a look at my notes. It is the Into the Wild Tarot Challenge, and I've enjoyed that immensely. So that's all I have to say about spreads. I tend to use them. Oh, I've also got this book, which I like very much, but I don't use it daily. The 365 tarot spreads. Yeah, does what it says on the tin. So yeah, so that's what I've got to say about tarot spreads. Yeah, the end of that section. Your preferred tarot system is the next question. I mean, right at this moment is the RWS. Haven't really tried reading with the Marseille. I really would like to try and get into Thoth or Toth. But I have to be honest with myself and think that this is probably a system I will start looking at for next year. I agree that tarot is tarot, and I would like to bring those systems together. I think, you know, I've mentioned the tarot vampire, and that is, you know, Thoth influence. So you do, you know, and with the Marseille, I guess, being relying heavily on numerology. So you know, you do get bits and pieces of it, don't you? But the RWS, and I think, you know, I do really like the RWS. So maybe that's the one I stick with mostly, but I do want to have a dabble in Thoth, I guess. Tarot rituals. I'm just going to take some water. It is really, really hot here. We're going through a heat wave in England at the moment, and it is, yeah. Excuse me, but it's just so hot. um, I think it's 32 degrees at the moment, and this is like the, I don't know, 7th day it's been this hot. Anyway, tarot rituals. I mean, shuffling actually. I think I think that is something I like to do a lot, and this is another thing that irks me about this hexagonal deck. I think, and maybe it's the cardstock too. It feels really clumpy. I think this is a rose petal finish, but I just don't feel like I can shuffle it very well. It seems to be shuffling all right now. Showing me up, are you, deck? When it comes to riffle shuffling, I've found that with this deck, if you do it by the edges, it works sort of. Sort of. I don't know. It's beautiful though. So yeah, I don't really have that many rituals, although I would like to have a more sort of ritualized practice in a way. I do want to sort of, I think there are things that I could do. More meditation. I do like candles occasionally. I think it's more to do with establishing a consistent practice rather than the ritual for me. Anyway, we'll see how it goes. Anyway, beautiful deck, isn't it? Just not great on the cardstock or the box, but I've moaned about that enough. I will possibly always moan about it when it comes to this deck. Okay, so that was tarot rituals. How do I use tarot? Well, I've said before, I used it sort of in conjunction with therapy when I was doing therapy last year and this year, and it was really great. I've got to say, my therapist didn't suggest tarot to me, but when I sort of mentioned that I was pulling cards, she was all in favour, and, you know, said that she you know, would get together with friends and, you know, play with tarot herself. So that was really nice. And she was very encouraging of me using it in that way. I love that it gives me a different perspective, that, you know, sometimes you think, oh, this, you know, your point of view is the right one. And sometimes tarot comes and says, no, maybe have you had a look at it this way? If you, you know, could you see it from this other point of view? And that has helped me, like I say, in my relationships with friends and family and colleagues. It's been great. It is a creativity tool for me as well, and something that I'm working with to sort of like establish a practice more along a tarot creativity lines. And obviously, if you've watched Marlena's videos from can't remember the name of her channel, but I'll post it below. She is working with the tarot in her creative writing as well, and that's something that I would like to sort of do some VRs. I have done some VRs, but they are lost. They've gone. So I have done some VRs for her in response to her excellent videos. Yeah, so I also want to start you know, really exploring my spirituality and exploring my relationship with various energies or deities, and I want to kind of do some path working as well. I think path working with this deck actually would be really interesting. Yeah, I will do a video of this one because it is a surprising, you know, keep on saying, I am surprised by this deck. It overturned my expectations. So yeah, I would like to do some path working at some point. I'm very much open to anything new that you can do with tarot. So yeah, that's how I use tarot. Anyway, my significator card and why you feel it represents you. I have my Myers-Briggs is INFP, which is the Page of Cups, but I'm also very partial to the Page of Swords. I think, oh, I did have the, bear with me to speak among yourselves while I try and find, nope, okay. I'll do it this way. So I have this deck, which is Terra Apocalypsis, which is quite a full-on deck, I think. One of the great things it does, though, is it's very good on court cards. So one of the court cards here is the Princess of Swords. So here she is, Saga, and she is the goddess of let's see, she's the goddess of goddess of knowledge, discourse, and learning. And I see her as being very much the sort of spirit of writing as well. And this sort of, you know, explains why and why it sort of makes me feel like the Page of Swords is kind of a good card if your creative endeavor is writing, basically. The use of the term saga carries with it associations of history and narrative, and of what was once fluid in oral form being set down in accepted tradition. I mean, I think that is a good sort of like indication to me that she's about writing. So I sort of see myself in the Page of Cups. I also see myself in the Page of Swords. So I guess those two cards. Queen of Cups, Queen of Wands, the Queen of Swords, actually all the queens, what I'm saying, they're all aspirational to me, and I hope to get there at some point. Maybe. Yeah. So what is my most expensive tarot acquisition? I think again, here we go with the Terra Volatile. I got the expansion pack and it was absolutely worth it for me. I love this deck so much. I love it. I love it. It just, I don't know, it shuffles so well. The I mean, the cards are just, imagery is just beautiful to me. This is exactly my aesthetic. And I think I do work with the, this is an alternate Five of Swords cards that I really like. I do work with the fifth suit, which is the suit of vessels, and I've also added in some of the sort of alternate cards for, this is an alternate card for the sun is poetry, but I've kept the sun in it, but I've also got poetry. This is basically now 100 card deck. So I haven't used everything that they gave, but yeah, I do use a lot, and I love this deck. I really do, and it's great. And I think it was, I don't know, I can't remember how much it was, but it definitely is my most expensive deck. A lot of the decks I have are mass market, really. I have some indie decks. This one, the Lilith Tarot, is actually a second. I think if you notice here, it's a tiny sort of, I don't know, little crease in the box. And that was it. I mean, there's also sort of a rip here, but that was my fault. So it was very, even though it was said to be a second, it was actually, you know, you almost can't see, you know, it doesn't matter, it's just the sleeve as well. So that was, you know, reasonably priced, although I think Lilith was quite reasonably priced as well. I think, yeah, so that's basically my most expensive tarot acquisition, and I'm happy about that. So unicorn deck, right, so I do have some unicorn decks. They are the Majestic Earth, the Ogun Blink Tarot, and the Spolia Tarot. However, they are so expensive. Like, I think I saw a still sealed Majestic Earth, still in its wrapper, which makes me think that the person who got it, I don't know, just wanted to sell it on for you know, mega bucks, and it was something like £400. I'm not going to pay £400 for a deck, however much I love it, and I love the look of the Majestic Earth. My feeling is that, this is just me personally, if I'm going to spend that money, that sort of money, I'd really rather it went to the creator. And so that, if I'm ever sort of really tempted, if the Majestic Earth came up and it was within my usual budget for cards, which is, I think I would go up to £150 if it was something I really loved. Okay, then I would get it, but I'm also just really aware that the money, if it's going to a second party, is not going to the creator. I don't know. This is just my feelings, though. If you feel differently, and actually, if there was a deck that I really, really, really wanted, super duper wanted, and it came up for like mega bucks, but I really wanted it and I had the money, I think I would get it without that compunction without sort of like worrying too much about the money not going to the creator. I guess there hasn't been a deck that I've felt that strongly about. Like, the decks that I love are all pretty much readily available now. So yeah, so I guess there is a sort of a fear of missing out with some of those decks, but I'm all right with those ones. So yeah, there we go. What's the most important lesson that tarot has taught me? I think aside from the sort of introspection, aside from the sort of balance that you get, aside from the different perspectives that I've talked about, finding a new perspective, helping you to sort of see how other people, get an idea of why other people might be reacting in the way that they are, or how you can sort of change your thoughts around something happening. Like I've used it once when I had a very it wasn't actually a very bad time at work. It was just something happened at work that wasn't great, and I was left feeling sort of a bit out of sorts about it. And it wasn't really anybody's fault or anything that anybody did. It was just one of those situations that were just a bit sort of like off. Do you know what I mean? At the time, I was working pretty much exclusively with the Terra Volatile, but when I went to do a sort of a 3-card reading about this problem, it was actually this deck that came in handy for that. I felt instinctively that it was this deck I should work with, which was really interesting. And that perspective, that new perspective that it gave me was hugely helpful. So that is something that I love tarot for, and it has been a really important lesson of being able to sort of have access to other perspectives or other ways of looking at an issue. Is just, it's amazing, isn't it? It's such a gift. But I think connection as well. Connecting to, I feel like it's connecting me to parts of myself that I have sort of compartmentalized or have pushed down, or I have not accessed in a really long time. So I feel like that inner connection has been something that I think that's been a really important lesson, and having that inner connection and being able to be kinder to myself has in turn led me to sort of be a bit more understanding of others, particularly my colleagues. Actually, I love my job, and I love the people I work with, but you don't know them as well, do you? So anyway, tarot party guests. Well, this is really nice. I love cooking. I love chopping vegetables. Chopping vegetables, listening to a podcast is among my favorite things in the world. I would love to throw a dinner party, but in fact, I would love to sort of cater for all you guys. I think Meg mentioned this in her one. I think it would just be so nice to have a massive picnic somewhere beautiful, maybe late summer, early autumn, people, I don't know, underneath a spreading oak, slinging cards, talking about tarot, all of that is wonderful. I will probably have as the guest of honor actually Simon from the Hermit's Cave, because he was the first person who I sort of encountered when I jumped on TarotTube, and I think it was the video that I saw was something about classic tarot decks, and I got to see, I don't know, Patrick Valencia for the first time. I got to see Druid Craft. I got to see Morgan Greer, the Aquarian tarot, and it was like amazing. And yeah, I've loved his channel ever since. um, so yeah, so I would just really like a big group of people just sort of, you know, throwing cards while I cooked, while I made lots of salads. um, yeah, it would be vegan. I'm not vegan, but I really like I really, we try to eat vegan as much as we can, and um, yeah, as much as we can with a really picky 7-year-old. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to my um listening to this. Thanks very much to Simon for starting this tag. Thank you all very much for coming by. I really want to do more videos, more tags like this one, and I hope I haven't yeah, I hope haven't offended anybody. Um, anyway, I find it so hard to say goodbye, so I'm just going to say goodbye. Goodbye. Thanks.